Hey everybody, Aaron here, and this is another anime request review, actually, which I haven't gotten in a while. This goes out to my friend Sean, who, he actually reminded me to review this because I actually forgotten to review this. I was actually planning to do this way while ago. So I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. This is Phantom Requiem for the Phantom. Now, two things. One, this is based off a visual novel. If you've ever heard of it, which I doubt most of you have, and if not, almost any of you have, the visual novel came out way back when, actually, and it was actually released stateside. Like it was actually released here, surprisingly enough, on DVD. That you can put it on your DVD, you can put it on your computer, you can put it on the PS2 or PS3, and it would play like that, where you just it had a save function and that was password related, which was really cool. I really dig that. It made it a little bit easy though if you wanted to cheat, like if you wanted to skip sequences, you could put passwords in. But for the most part, the password system was really cool, and it's something that may be a little outdated even for the time period it came out in, but it was still cool. But many years later, we would then see an animated adaptation for it, which was I always think was a little surprising because I don't, to my knowledge at least, the actual visual novel was not very popular for Phantom Requiem of Phantom. It was like meh, like that's what I'm gonna say. But I was really happy when I heard about this because I had fond memories of the game when I was younger, and then I saw this and it's on my top 50 best anime of all time. It has never been removed from that top 50 because it's just an awesome anime, and so I'm glad I'm finally getting to review it. So our story begins with our main character who is amnesiac, which if you've guys seen any of my recent reviews where I talked about amnesiacs, I right away would scare me off usually for the fact that he's an amnesiac, but he wakes up in a strange facility and a strange bedroom. And when he leaves, he runs into a woman who then attacks him, and he's forced to kind of have to survive by trying to fight her back, despite not knowing really how to and not having any skill whatsoever. And he only is driven by the fact, not because he has no memories, but he's driven by the fact that he wants to live. And what he realizes that the girl actually tells him, "Hey, listen, you are a new project, which is to become an assassin, and you can live if you train to be an assassin and become one. If not, you die." With that kind of push towards him, he then chooses, to live, so he becomes an assassin. And over the course of the show, Phantom Requiem for the Phantom actually really goes into the fact of what are you willing to do to survive. You know, our main character, his name will become Zwei, which is the German name for two, will actually be really kind of that question will really be embedded into him as he starts learning who he really was, what his original life was, but now he's into a world where it's run by an organization called Phantom, which they are the bigger picture of a bigger organization called Inferno. Now, oddly enough, the show hits many spoiler notes, and I'm trying to avoid them because everything I say after a certain point could be spoilers, which is kind of hard for me to do because I hate giving you guys spoilers. But Phantom Requiem the Phantom, I'm gonna say this just out, is that this show never ceases to amaze me. It never does. It's something that I've seen so many times. I think maybe I'm on my, no kidding, maybe my eighth time watching the show, maybe almost ninth time, and I will always pick up something slightly different that I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that until now. Oh wow, it's just that clever the way it's written. There's a lot of characters, there's a lot of story elements to it, a lot of character progression that isn't always noticeable your first time through. But it's not a show that you want to watch only once. This is a show you want to watch 3 or 4 times. It is going to be a show that you will fall in love with because it is both mature, it is both action packed, it has a great story, it has some great animation. This show is the whole package in my terms of anime. I think this is quite honestly one of my favorites personally. I mean, it's my top 50. Of course, it's one of my favorites, but it's something that like I when I was able to buy it on Blu-ray way back when, I bought it in a heartbeat. I didn't care how much it was. I was like, nah, it's gonna be bought now. I have to buy it right now. Now, what's cool about this is that both English and Japanese dub works really well for the show. I think that the English dub makes a little bit more sense, seeing that the world they're in is kind of more trying to lean towards the American society. than the Japanese society. And even though our character is from Japan, you know, he's gonna learn. You know, I'm not gonna. I'm trying to avoid spoiling. That's why I tend to stop myself with that weird, awkward phrasing of the word Japan. He is from Japan, but his character is now in America. So, it's. I think it works better to have it in English dub personally. But if you watch this in Japanese dub, do not worry. It's just as good, if not, you know, equal. I want to say. Now, one thing about this also, it has a phenomenal ending. You know, the ending of the show is perfect by all means. Like, I mean, it doesn't leave you wanting more. It leaves you with a little bit of shock value, which is always good when it's done correctly. You know, I've talked about this before, but shock value is something that if it's done stupid, it makes the whole show, kind of ruins the show. So I was happy that this show ended on a way that's like, well, it's good. It's just by itself, it's good. Unlike the visual novels, it has an ending which is actually not from the visual novels, because the visual novels have multiple endings as well, but this was not one of the endings for it, which is really cool. I think having an original ending for it was cool, but also at the same time, the fact that it has that ending that's so unique and I think more tasteful than the actual visual novel was just a really great idea on whoever made this show. Now, I'll tell you right now, pay very careful attention to the characters. You're gonna notice that the characters have really, I want to not dual personalities per se, but I want to say that they really have a lot to bring to the show. Many of the characters who may look like regular side characters that have nothing to bring, you know, in other anime, actually have very important roles. So pay attention to that when you're watching the show. But even more so, pay attention to everything about the show, because it's one of those shows that you're not gonna want to miss a beat. You're gonna want to know who's who and what's going on, because it's gonna further your enjoyment of it. Now, there is one weakness of Phantom, and that would be probably not toward the end per se, but it's getting near the end, where there's a sequence that happens that is in retrospect to what happens in the actual story, so they have to go through this kind of sequence, and it changes the show slightly for that. I hated those episodes. Like, it's only one or two episodes that it does it with, but I hate those episodes. It's almost like a little too off kilter for my taste. Like, I was just blown away by it, and it really bothered me. But it was, and I'm not saying bother like it's creepy or disturbing or anything like that. I'm just saying it's just really a very odd, tasteful scene that it doesn't make any sense in terms of why they did it that way. It makes sense why they did it for the story. So it's not like it's something that doesn't make any sense whatsoever in the grander scheme, but it doesn't make sense for the show. If that, you know, does that make sense? Does the words that I'm actually saying make sense? That'd be a better question. But overall, Phantom, Requiem for the Phantom, if I had to give it an A through F, A+. It's very rare. You very rarely hear me ever say A+ in the show. Because I really think shows need to deserve it. And Phantom, Requiem for the Phantom deserves it all day long, every day. So I hope you guys liked this as my review. I hope you guys liked everything I did here. Please like, comment, subscribe if you did. And as always, until our paths cross again in the next review, have a good one, everyone. Bye.